A silver snow carpet stretched across the quiet town, each flake catching the dim glow of street lamps like scattered stars falling to earth. The wind whispered through the skeletal trees, carrying a chill that burned the skin yet thrilled the senses. From the shadows of the forest beyond, she arrived. The alien princess, radiant and otherworldly, moved with a grace that seemed to bend reality around her. Her skin shimmered faintly under the pale moonlight, a spectrum of colors that no human eye had ever truly seen. Her heart raced, not from fear, but from anticipation. She came secretly from her mother, the queen of the Celestials, to witness something entirely foreign, a human celebration called Christmas. But she did not come alone in her mind. Her thoughts swirled with curiosity and caution. The handsome man who awaited her on Earth represented an enigma, a species that had survived wars, natural disasters, and cosmic threats, yet remained fragile in the eyes of the universe. Every step she took through the snow felt electric. The sound of her boots compressed the snow in rhythm with her heartbeat. She inhaled deeply. The earth smelled of pine, smoke, and something inexplicably warm, an aroma no interstellar palace could ever recreate. The town lay asleep, oblivious to the arrival of the being who could melt minds with a glance. She reached the quaint little house where he waited, the lights glowing warmly against the encroaching darkness. Her pulse quickened. Inside, the man stood near the fireplace, adjusting a small ornament on the tree. His laughter, soft yet full of strength, reached her ears before she even opened the door. Humans, she thought, were fragile but extraordinary. Their courage lay not in invincibility, but in defiance. They stared into the void and carved meaning from chaos. She entered quietly, her presence unnoticed at first. Then he turned. His eyes widened, not in fear, but in awe. "You are—" he whispered, almost unable to speak. She smiled, a mixture of wonder and caution. "I am more than you imagine," she replied, her voice a melody that resonated in the room, making the firelight flicker like a heartbeat. They sat by the fireplace, talking of stars, of wars, of survival. The princess learned of humanity's indomitable spirit, the way humans invented, adapted, and persevered against odds that would crush civilizations across galaxies. Outside, the snow thickened. Unbeknownst to them, a dark force prowled the outskirts of the solar system, ancient, relentless, capable of consuming entire worlds in silence. The princess shivered, not from the cold, but from realization. She had come to celebrate something simple, something beautiful, but the universe rarely allowed simplicity. The man spoke of Earth's hidden strengths, the courage of explorers, the intelligence of its engineers, the unpredictability that made them dangerous in ways aliens never anticipated. A distant rumble shook the house, faint but unmistakable. The ground trembled, snow falling in cascading waves from the eaves. "They are here," she said, her eyes reflecting a constellation of fear and resolve. "What do you mean?" he asked, standing abruptly, a sense of danger sharpening his instincts. Something ancient, something that thinks humans are insignificant. They do not yet know that humans are extraordinary. And then the first strike came. The windows exploded outward, shards flying like deadly stars. A massive shadow hovered above, blocking the moonlight. The air thickened, charged with an energy that bent perception and made the hairs on her arms rise. The princess reached for the man's hand, feeling the steady thrum of human courage coursing through him. "You must trust me," she said, voice urgent yet calm. He nodded, eyes burning with determination. This was not a moment for fear. It was a moment to prove humanity's worth. They ran into the forest, the alien shadow descending upon the town like a living eclipse. She marveled at him, not at his strength or skill, though he possessed both, but at the spark in his eyes, a spark that defied the darkness, that could inspire entire species to rise when all hope seemed lost. Together, they navigated frozen streams and twisted trees, avoiding predators that had devoured planets whole. Every step revealed new wonders and horrors. Ancient ruins rose from the snow, remnants of civilizations long gone, etched with warnings and riddles. The princess deciphered the inscriptions, her alien intellect blending with his human ingenuity. "This says, 'They respect strength,'" he said, tracing the symbols with his gloved fingers. But they fear unpredictability. That is our edge. Yes, she agreed. Humans are impossible to predict. That is why you survive. The shadow followed, relentless. Its voice, when it spoke, sounded like the grinding of galaxies. Insignificant creatures. Your defiance is noted. The man stepped forward. We are not insignificant, and we will fight. She felt it. The human courage, unyielding and pure. It surged in the clearing like a beacon, casting light against the darkness. For the first time, the shadow hesitated. You are brave, it hissed, but bravery alone does not save you. No, he said firmly, but intelligence, courage, unity, and heart, these are human weapons, and we wield them well. The princess gasped in awe. She had come to Earth for a simple celebration, but instead, she witnessed the birth of legends, the demonstration of human potential in a universe that had long underestimated them. The snow swirled around them, a storm and a shield. Each flake sparkled like a promise. Humanity would endure. And as the shadow recoiled, the princess realized that Earth was more than a hiding place. It was a proving ground, a crucible in which ordinary humans became extraordinary. The forest around them shivered under the weight of something ancient. Branches bent unnaturally, and the snow beneath their feet glowed faintly, as though aware of their intrusion. The shadow lingered above, massive and incomprehensible, a living monument of dark power that pulsed with menace. The man gritted his teeth. We cannot fight head-on, he said, scanning the trees. We need strategy. We need traps, distractions, everything humans do best under pressure. The princess observed him, astonished. His mind worked in rapid, precise calculations, as if instinct and intelligence were inseparable. She had expected fear, hesitation, but found instead a blazing determination. They reached an abandoned clearing, where ancient monoliths jutted from the snow like the spines of frozen beasts. Symbols etched into the stone pulsed faintly, reacting to their presence. These are markers of old battles, she whispered. Civilizations fought here, and some survived, some did not. The power in this place is immense. It can amplify what you are if you are worthy. He nodded, studying the stones. Then we become worthy. We adapt. We learn from the ruins instead of fearing them. He stepped forward, pressing his hands against the cold stone. The markings glowed brighter, and a low hum resonated through the ground. The air shimmered with energy. She felt it too, an alien, raw force that could bend flesh, mind, and time itself. The shadow screeched, a sound like collapsing stars, and descended. Yet, even as it moved closer, the man remained calm. Listen to me, he said to the princess. We use their rules against them. The ruins will protect us if we act with intelligence. He began setting crude but brilliant mechanisms. Broken branches arranged like snares, snow-packed pits hidden beneath the surface, and reflective shards that could confuse any creature that relied on light or energy tracking. The princess assisted, her hands weaving through the snow with deft precision, guided by her alien knowledge. Together, they created a labyrinth of traps that was part instinct, part genius, part audacity. The shadow lunged. Its form warped the air around it, distorting reality, making the world flicker between clarity and nightmare. Yet the man did not hesitate. He moved with fluid, purposeful motions, avoiding tendrils of dark energy that could erase consciousness itself. One trap triggered. The shadow howled in fury as a net of reinforced fibers, interwoven with reflective crystals, ensnared a part of its tendrils. The energy recoiled, and for the first time, the creature hesitated. The princess felt a thrill of hope. Humans were small, fragile, limited, but when pushed to extremes, their ingenuity became a weapon stronger than brute force. The man ran, setting another trap, each movement precise, yet unpredictable. The shadow adapted, morphing, reshaping itself into something even more terrifying, its form now a constantly shifting nightmare, half matter, half energy. Do not stop, she urged. Their weakness is not strength, it is pattern. They can anticipate power, but not chaos. He understood instantly. He sprinted to the ruins, leading the shadow into a maze of traps and illusions. Mirrors reflected the glow from the monoliths. creating multiple images of him that the creature could not distinguish from reality. Every misstep costed energy. Every hesitation gave humans an advantage. Then the shadow unleashed its ultimate weapon, a wave of pure gravity, bending the forest, crushing trees, and distorting the air around them. The princess felt the force tearing at her, threatening to fling her into another dimension. The man planted himself firmly, feeling the snow underfoot shift like liquid ice. He adjusted a mechanism he had prepared. A lever connected to one of the monoliths. The stone pulsed and glowed violently, releasing a wave of energy that countered the shadow's gravitational assault. The impact was cataclysmic. Snow exploded in clouds. Branches shattered, and the air sang with the energy of unleashed power. Yet humans endured. They adapted. They survived. The princess marveled at him, not for his strength alone, but for his mind, his courage, and the raw, unyielding spark of humanity. Every human decision, every instinctual choice, became a weapon in the war against being a consumed worlds. The shadow shrieked again, a sound that seemed to tear at the very fabric of existence. But then it paused. It regarded them with an almost sentient calculation. "You survive differently," it said, its voice echoing in every corner of space and mind. "Your defiance is remarkable, but survival is not enough. You cannot defeat me." The man met its gaze, eyes blazing. "We do not only survive. We learn, we adapt, and we fight smarter than you expect. That is what makes us human. That is what makes us dangerous." The princess felt a surge of emotion she had never experienced among the Celestials. Hope. Not naive hope, but the intense, tangible conviction that humans could rise against impossible odds. The shadow advanced again, its form rippling like dark water. It struck with tendrils of energy that could dissolve metal, warp time, and erase memory. But the man had prepared. He led into a trap of their own design, where the monoliths resonated in a harmonic frequency that could distort the shadow's form. The crystals reflected energy back into it, and the creature howled in pain, staggering in ways no being had ever staggered before. The princess saw him, standing firm, his hands trembling only slightly from the force, but his mind laser-focused. He was small, human, fragile, and yet he was unstoppable. And then a new danger appeared. A fleet of scouts from a distant, ancient empire. Ships carved from blackened star metal emerged from the atmosphere. Energy cannons aimed directly at the clearing. Their intentions were clear. The humans must not survive this night. The man did not flinch. He calculated angles, velocities, and probabilities in seconds, his human mind adapting faster than any alien technology could predict. "We do not hide," he said. "We fight, and we survive." The princess assisted, projecting protective shields with her alien abilities, but it was a strategy that made the difference. Using the ruins, the reflective crystals in the terrain, they created illusions of multiple humans and multiple traps. The fleet fired, energy tearing through the snow, but each shot was misdirected. The man led a counterattack, using a combination of alien tech the princess shared and human improvisation. They sent a pulse of energy that disabled the fleet's main engines. The ships faltered, crashing into forest in controlled destruction, leaving the humans and the princess unscathed but surrounded by wreckage. Through the chaos, the princess realized the full truth. Humanity's power lay not in weapons or technology, but in intelligence, creativity, courage, and the unpredictable spark of life. Every human decision, even in the face of death, carried an energy that aliens, ancient or advanced, could not quantify. The shadow reeled, now understanding that brute force alone would not break them. It shifted again, forming a new shape, larger, more terrifying, a dark amalgam of everything it had ever consumed. But the man stood tall. "We are not insignificant," he said. "We are humans, and we prove it every day." He set the final trap, a combination of alien resonance and human ingenuity, designed not to destroy the shadow but to contain it. A cage of energy and light formed around the creature, pulsing with the same frequency as the monoliths, forcing it into a stasis it could not escape. The clearing fell silent, the snow settling over the wreckage, glowing faintly under the monoliths. The man and the princess stood side by side, exhausted but victorious. She looked at him with awe. He had faced an impossible threat, ancient beyond measure, and yet he had adapted, endured, and triumphed. Humanity's strength, she realized, was more than physical. It was the courage to defy the impossible, the intelligence to outthink the universe, and the heart to protect what mattered against all odds. The night was far from over. They could feel it, the universe watching, noting that a human had survived what countless civilizations had failed to withstand. She touched his hand. "You are extraordinary," she said, her voice trembling with admiration and wonder. He smiled, snowflakes clinging to his hair. "We are extraordinary," he corrected. "All humans are." The shadow, now contained, pulsed silently within the energy cage. It had underestimated them, as had many others, and it would remember, and so would the universe. But this was only the beginning. Far beyond the stars, ancient powers stirred. Creatures older than galaxies, forces that had never known resistance, would awaken. Yet humanity had already proven one immutable truth. When faced with impossible odds, humans did not merely survive. They adapted, outsmarted, and rose beyond expectation. The princess realized that her mission, which had begun as a secret celebration, had transformed into a testament to human greatness. The man looked at the stars above, their familiar constellations glowing faintly in the winter sky. "They will come again," he said, "but next time we will be ready." She nodded, understanding that her people and all the Celestials who had doubted humans would now witness the same revelation she had. Earth was not a backwater planet. It was a crucible, a proving ground, a place where ordinary humans became legends. Snow fell gently over the battlefield, covering destruction with delicate beauty. Fires smoldered, casting flickering shadows that danced across the frozen ground. The man and the princess remained standing, unbroken, their bond forged in survival and mutual awe. They knew the universe was vast, perilous, and full of horrors beyond comprehension. Yet they also knew that as long as humans existed, as long as courage, intelligence, and heart endured, no threat, alien, ancient, or unimaginable, could truly conquer them. The night carried on, filled with distant echoes of cosmic forces and the silent promise of new challenges. But for now, humanity had proven itself, not through sheer power, but through indomitable will, ingenuity, and an unyielding spirit that no darkness could extinguish. And somewhere, hidden among the stars, the queen watched, astonished and proud, as her daughter returned forever changed, carrying the knowledge of something far more extraordinary than she had ever imagined. The man's breath formed clouds in the cold air, each exhale a testament to life, to persistence, to survival. The princess observed him with fascination. Humans were fragile, yet their minds moved faster than any weapon, faster than any alien expectation. "Tell me," she said, voice barely audible over the crunch of snow, "how do you survive knowing the universe is against you?" He smiled faintly, eyes scanning the horizon for any lingering threats. "We adapt," he said simply. "We make choices no one expects. And we never forget what we fight for." The ruins around them hummed faintly, the monoliths responding to the combination of human ingenuity and alien presence. She felt it, the resonance of hope mingling with power. It was intoxicating, dangerous, and exhilarating. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught their attention. Shadows skittered across the snow, fast, precise, and coordinated. Not random predators, not mindless drones. They were scouts. But these were not ordinary scouts. Their armor shimmered with a dark iridescence, etched with runes older than Earth itself. "They are hunting us," she said, tension tightening her voice. "Not to kill, to study, to understand, and to report." The man crouched behind a fallen monolith, assessing the scouts with sharp precision. "We give them something to report they will never forget," he said. The scouts advanced, weapons humming with energy. The princess prepared to strike with alien power, but he raised a hand. "Wait," he whispered. "We use their own rules against them. Let them come closer." The scouts entered the clearing, and immediately their senses were fooled. Mirrors, reflective ice, and deliberate footprints created illusions, multiple humans in multiple locations. The princess marveled. No alien technology could anticipate human chaos when humans themselves chose to become unpredictable. A scout fired. The energy bolt struck a reflective shard and ricocheted, striking another scout and sending it flying into the snow. The others hesitated, calculating patterns, trying to discern reality from illusion. The man seized the moment. He moved with extraordinary speed, placing a series of traps that activated almost instantaneously. Nets of energy restrained, walls of ice rose to channel movement, and sonic pulses disoriented the scouts further. The princess intervened, blending her alien abilities with his human improvisation. Together, they became a symphony of strategy and raw power. The scouts were relentless, but humans were more unpredictable than the universe had ever accounted for. Each step was a puzzle, each choice a trap, and every heartbeat a challenge to the cosmos. Suddenly, a shock wave rippled across the forest. The snow lifted, the trees bent, and the sky darkened unnaturally. From the heavens, a colossal ship descended. It was older than time, its surface etched with hieroglyphs of a civilization that had witnessed galaxies die. Its presence alone warped reality. The man turned to the princess, eyes gleaming with determination. "They came for a war," he said. "Then we give them one they cannot forget." The princess felt a mixture of fear and awe. The ship's energy field was immense, capable of vaporizing cities in a single pulse. Yet here stood a human, facing it without flinching, calculating, adapting, ready to prove the species' worth. The ship opened its hull, and waves of drones poured forth, each one a lethal combination of precision engineering and ancient mysticism. The man gestured to the ruins. "The monoliths amplify energy. We can use them." They positioned themselves strategically, combining alien resonance with human improvisation. The drones attacked, a storm of blade and energy, but humans fought with ingenuity. Every drone that landed a strike was met with a countermeasure. Every tactic they employed was calculated, adaptive, unpredictable. The princess realized something profound. Humans did not rely solely on strength or weapons. They relied on intelligence, creativity, and the courage to risk everything against the impossible. A drone collided with her shield, and she felt the surge of alien power strain under the attack. He noticed immediately. With a swift, decisive motion, he redirected energy from a fallen monolith, channeling it through a reflective crystal. The energy surged like lightning, frying the drone systems instantly. "Humans are dangerous," the princess murmured, almost to herself, "because they do not conform. They survive where others fail." The man's mind was already several steps ahead. He led them to the battlefield, using snowbanks, fallen trees, and the unpredictable terrain to their advantage. Each step created new possibilities. Each choice became a weapon. Then the unthinkable happened. The colossal ship above released a wave of temporal energy, a pulse designed to unravel time itself within a radius. Time warped around them. Snow froze midair. Birds hovered in impossible positions, and even sound seemed to slow. The princess panicked momentarily. It will tear reality apart. He grasped her hand, grounding them both. "Focus," he said. "Time is just another obstacle. We adapt, we move, we survive. That is human strength." They moved with precision, calculating the pulse's rhythm, using the ruins to shield themselves, turning temporal chaos into an advantage. Drones collided with each other as they misjudged timing, and humans exploited every fluctuation to strike. The colossal ship, sensing unexpected resistance, released its full energy. The forest itself began to crumble, trees snapping like twigs, snow erupting into violent flurries. The princess felt the overwhelming power, alien and terrifying, threatening to erase everything. But he did not waver. His mind raced through physics, probabilities, and patterns, finding a solution in seconds. He activated the final mechanism they had prepared, a combination of resonance from the monoliths, human-engineered kinetic amplifiers, and alien energy conduits. A massive pulse erupted, countering the ship's energy with precise calibration. The ship shuddered violently, caught off guard by humans bending forces it had assumed invincible. For the first time, the colossal ship hesitated. Its drones faltered. Energy pulses went astray. The man seized the moment, leaping into action with the princess at his side. Together, They dismantled the central control nodes of the ship's systems, using cunning, improvisation, and sheer willpower. The ship faltered, descending uncontrollably, crashing into the distant mountains with a cataclysmic explosion. The sound rolled across the forest like thunder, and yet, amidst the devastation, the humans remained standing. The princess looked at him with awe. He had faced powers beyond comprehension, outmaneuvered ancient technology, and survived with nothing but intelligence, courage, and heart. You are extraordinary," she whispered, unable to find words for the human ingenuity she had witnessed. "No," he said, looking around at the destruction and the potential survivors hiding nearby. "We are extraordinary. Every human is." The forest lay in ruins, yet life persisted. Snow drifted gently over shattered monoliths and scorched earth. Shadows of distant threats lingered, but humans had proven themselves, not through weapons alone, but through the impossible combination of courage, intelligence, and unpredictability. The princess realized something essential. She had traveled across galaxies to witness human celebration, to experience something simple and joyful, and instead she found herself at the epicenter of a battle that defined an entire species. The man, breathing heavily, looked at the stars. "They will come again," he said. "Stronger, older, more prepared. But next time we will be ready. We always are." She nodded, understanding fully. Humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, warriors, thinkers, and creators. In a universe of ancient threats and unstoppable forces, humans were the anomaly that could not be predicted, controlled, or destroyed. The snow fell silently, covering scars of battle with delicate white. Fires smoldered faintly, casting shadows that danced over frozen ground. The universe had witnessed the rise of humans. It would never underestimate them again. The princess and the man walked through the wreckage, side by side, exhausted yet victorious. Their bond was forged not only in shared danger, but in mutual respect and admiration. The stars above seemed to pulse in approval. Somewhere in the cosmos, ancient forces paused to take note. Humans had survived where others would have perished. Humans had defied impossible odds. Humans had proven themselves extraordinary. The princess reached for his hand. "The universe has changed tonight," she said. He smiled. "No," he replied. "We have changed the universe, and it will remember." Far beyond, in the shadows of distant galaxies, powers older than planets stirred, sensing the anomaly of humanity. Yet even they paused, uncertain, for humans were unpredictable, brilliant, and brave in ways no force had ever accounted for. And that unpredictability, that spark, would carry them to the next battle, and the next, and the next. The night stretched on, filled with echoes of distant cosmic forces, but humans had already proven one immutable truth. When confronted with the impossible, they did not merely survive. They adapted, outsmarted, and rose beyond expectation. The princess realized that her secret mission, which had begun as a simple Christmas visit, had become a testament to human potential, ingenuity, and heart. And as dawn broke over the snow-covered forest, she knew that she had witnessed not just survival, but the true rise of humanity in a dangerous, merciless universe. The man looked at her and said softly, "The universe will try again, but humans are ready. And when they come, we will show them the cost of underestimating us." She nodded, awe and respect swelling in her chest. Humans had proven themselves, not through sheer power, but through courage, intelligence, creativity, and heart, the traits that no alien, ancient or advanced, could ever fully predict or destroy. The first light of dawn glinted off the snow, reflecting like shards of crystal across the battlefield. The princess turned to the man, marveling at the way he surveyed the wreckage. Every fallen monolith, every scorched tree, every glimmering shard of alien technology told a story, and he read it all with instinctive precision. "They will return," she said, voice low. "Stronger, smarter, ancient beyond reckoning." He nodded, eyes fixed on the horizon where distant mountains swallowed the rising sun. "And we will be ready every time. Humans do not survive by chance. We survive because we think, we adapt, we fight in ways no one expects." The forest around them was eerily quiet. Snow fell softly over the scars of battle, covering destruction in an almost serene blanket. Yet beneath the silence, Energy pulsed, residual power from the monoliths, from alien technology, and from the shadow they contained. The princess felt it, a resonance, unlike anything in her life among the Celestials, that spoke of resilience, unpredictability, and untamed will. "This place," she whispered, "it holds power. You can use it, you humans. You can rise from it, stronger than before." He crouched, running his fingers over the ice and crystal shards. "We do not just survive. We learn. Every challenge, every threat, makes us smarter, stronger, and more dangerous than anything the universe expects." A distant rumble shook the mountains. The colossal ship they had defeated was not gone. It had sent a signal, a beacon calling for reinforcements. The princess's eyes widened. "They will come in numbers. They will not forget. Entire fleets, armies older than stars. And they will think you are defenseless." He smiled faintly, almost amused. "Let them come. They will find us waiting. And they will learn that humans are never defenseless." They moved through the ruined forest, carefully avoiding residual energy pulses that could tear flesh or mind apart. The man's mind worked rapidly, calculating terrain, the physics of the monoliths, and the lingering energy patterns. He marked potential choke points, traps, and escape routes, each decision a testament to human ingenuity and foresight. The princess followed, her own abilities supplementing his plans. Together, they became a fusion of alien precision and human unpredictability, a combination that no ancient force could anticipate. A new threat emerged from mist, a scout fleet smaller than the last, but equipped with weapons that bent matter itself, capable of erasing entire landscapes in seconds. "They underestimated us," the man said, crouching behind a fallen tree. "That will be their mistake again." The scouts advanced, energy blades slicing through the snow, drones hovering with silent menace. Yet every movement they made played into human advantage. Mirrors, ice, terrain traps, and improvised energy conduits turned every attack into a potential failure for the invaders. The princess watched in awe. Humans were small, fragile, yet their minds turned obstacles into weapons and threats into opportunities. Every decision they made reshaped the battlefield in ways no alien technology could predict. Suddenly, the snow erupted as a wave of kinetic energy struck the ground. Trees snapped like toothpicks. Yet the man remained standing, moving with uncanny speed, setting another series of traps. The scouts faltered. Every weapon they unleashed found nothing but misdirection and countermeasures. The princess realized it. Humans were dangerous not because of strength or technology alone, but because they were unpredictable, adaptable, and relentlessly creative. A drone lunged at her with blinding speed. She reacted instinctively, raising an energy shield. The man redirected energy through a reflective shard, striking the drone's circuits and sending it spiraling into the snow. "They are learning," she said, voice trembling. "They are learning faster than I can predict." "That is humanity," he said, almost proudly. "We learn. We adapt. We fight smarter every moment. That is our strength." Then the ground shook violently. A fissure opened, splitting the frozen earth, revealing an ancient machine buried for millennia, a weapon capable of erasing entire continents. The scouts converged on it, intending to activate its power against them. The man and the princess exchanged a glance. He understood immediately. "We cannot let them control it," he said. "We have to disable it, and we have to do it now." They ran across the fractured landscape, navigating falling ice, unstable terrain, and energy surges from the machine. The scouts pursued relentlessly, but humans thrived in chaos. Every misstep by the aliens became an opportunity. Every calculated risk became a counterattack. The princess channeled her alien energy into amplifying the man's improvised devices, creating a cascading effect that neutralized the machine's power just as the scouts attempted to activate it. The explosion of energy illuminated the sky like a second sun. Drones were shredded midair. The fissure sealed partially, leaving the machine inert. They stood amid the wreckage, breathing heavily, yet unbroken. Humans had survived again, and in the process had demonstrated a force far greater than mere strength. The princess stepped closer, her hand brushing against his. "Your species, it amazes me." The the courage, the ingenuity. You are unlike anything I have ever witnessed." He looked at her, eyes fierce yet calm. "We are extraordinary," he said simply. "Every human is. That is why we survive. That is why we will endure. And that is why the universe will never forget us." A new shadow appeared on the horizon, an enormous shape, darker and more terrifying than anything they had faced. The princess gasped. "It is the queen's emissary, or worse. It is ancient beyond reckoning. It senses the anomaly you represent." He did not flinch. "Then we will show it that humans are not anomalies to be destroyed. We are a species that turns impossibility into victory." They prepared for the next battle, using the terrain, the ruins, and every scrap of improvised weaponry. Humans, she realized, fought with heart as much as with skill. Their minds, their courage, and their unpredictability were weapons as powerful as any technology or energy. The shadow advanced, a wave of darkness and energy, capable of warping reality itself. But the man calculated its patterns, anticipating movement, exploiting weaknesses, and creating traps in real time. The princess followed, her powers synchronized with his strategies, amplifying human unpredictability with alien precision. The battle raged, a clash of intellect, courage, and raw energy. Each human decision reshaped the encounter. Every choice was a gamble, every instinct a weapon. The ancient emissary struck with temporal waves, tearing the air and freezing the forest in mid-motion. Yet humans adapted, flowing around the attacks, countering with strategies that even the alien could not predict. The princess marveled at the coordination, the instinctive trust, the creativity, the ability to convert chaos into advantage. Humans were fragile, yes, but their minds turned the impossible into survival, and survival into triumph. The man led them to a final position, where the monolith's resonance could amplify their combined efforts. They channeled energy, laying a trap unlike any the universe had seen, a combination of alien power, human ingenuity, and sheer will. The emissary struck, and the forest exploded in light and sound. Energy collided, snow and ice erupted, and reality itself seemed to shiver. And yet humans endured. They exploited every flaw, every hesitation, every miscalculation. The princess realized the truth. Humans were not just survivors. They were creators of strategy, masters of adaptation, and embodiments of courage. The emissary faltered, retreating temporarily, stunned by a species that could defy laws it had assumed inviolable. The man stood tall, breathing heavily but unbroken. "We are human," he said, voice carrying across the battlefield. "And we endure. That is our power." The princess smiled, awe and respect shining in her eyes. "I came to Earth for a simple celebration," she whispered, "and instead I have witnessed the rise of legends." The snow settled, dusting the battlefield with fragile beauty. Fires smoldered in the distance, reflecting the scars of survival and triumph. Humans had proven themselves again, not by mere strength, but through courage, intelligence, unpredictability, and heart. The universe would remember this night. The celestials would remember it. Ancient powers would take note. And the man turned to her, eyes bright. "This is only the beginning. The universe will test us again. But every time we will rise. We always do." The princess nodded, understanding that humanity's uniqueness lay not in invincibility, but in adaptability, creativity, and unbreakable spirit. The dawn was fragile, a pale glow that struggled to pierce the snow-laden clouds above the shattered forest. The man and the princess moved cautiously, every step crunching in the fresh snow, every breath visible in the freezing air. Despite the chaos, despite the lingering shadows of the colossal ship and the ancient emissary, humanity had endured. Yet the universe never rests, and survival tonight was only a prelude to far greater trials. The princess glanced at him. "Your species, it is unlike anything I have witnessed. You do not rely on power alone. You anticipate, improvise, and defy expectation at every moment." He shrugged, eyes scanning the horizon. "We have no choice. The universe is not kind. If we fail to adapt, we perish. If we hesitate, we die. Humans have survived because we act when others cannot, because we turn chaos into advantage." A distant rumble interrupted the fragile calm. The mountains to the east shifted unnaturally. Snow cascaded down jagged cliffs. "They are coming," the princess said, her voice tight with tension. "They sense your anomaly. Entire fleets. More than the emissary alone. Forces older than your species, and they will not forgive defiance." He nodded. "Then we meet them on our terms. They will learn what humans are capable of." The princess marveled at the audacity in his voice, the clarity of purpose. Humans were fragile, yes, but their spirit, their intelligence, and their unyielding courage created a force even a universe could not predict. They moved across the snow-swept ruins, every footprint a testament to ingenuity. The monoliths around them hummed faintly, still resonating with the residual energy of their last encounter. He studied the patterns, calculating how to turn every shard of energy, every reflective surface, into a potential weapon or trap. The first scout arrived, flying craft smaller than a colossal ship, but bristling with weapons capable of reducing mountains to rubble. The man smiled faintly. "Let them come. Every attack is an opportunity." The princess watched in awe as he orchestrated the battlefield. Mirrors, shards of ice, and improvised energy conductors created illusions and traps that defied the scout sensors. Every move was deliberate, yet unpredictable. A drone lunged toward them. The man anticipated its trajectory, grabbing a crystal shard and reflecting the drone's energy beam back into its circuitry. It exploded in a shower of sparks, a warning to the others. "They underestimate humans," the princess whispered. "They think fragility equals weakness." "Fragility is deceptive," he said. "It hides a capacity to adapt, to improvise, to turn the impossible into survival." The scouts regrouped, firing volleys of energy, but humans thrived in chaos. Each attack became a chance to learn, a chance to exploit weakness, a chance to turn fear into advantage. Suddenly, the ground beneath them shifted. A fissure opened, revealing an ancient alien mechanism buried eons. It pulsed with energy, a dormant weapon capable of reshaping continents or unraveling gravity itself. The princess gasped. If they activate that, entire worlds could be erased. The man did not hesitate. "Then we neutralize it. Now!" They ran across fractured terrain, dodging surges of raw power that distorted reality. The scouts pursued relentlessly, but every movement played into human strength. Improvisation, intuition, and intelligence turned each ambush into a counterattack. The princess combined her alien abilities with his strategies, creating a synergy that neither species alone could achieve. Energy flowed through the crystals, the monoliths, and the snow, forming barriers and conduits that disrupted the weapon's activation. The machine pulsed violently, reacting to their interference. Energy waves tore through the forest, hurling trees and snow in violent arcs. The man calculated every movement, every pulse, adapting instantly to the shifting threat. "Humans are dangerous," the princess murmured, almost to herself. "Not because of raw strength, but because you are impossible to predict." He glanced at her, eyes bright with determination. "That is why we endure. That is why the universe cannot destroy us." The scouts, frustrated and confused, began to falter. Every miscalculated strike fed into human strategy. Every hesitation amplified human advantage. And then the first of the reinforcements arrived. Ships older than planets, shaped from blackened alloys that shimmered with cosmic energy. They descended silently, encircling the forest like predators. The man did not flinch. They think size and history matter. They do not. Humans turn disadvantage into weapon, chaos into strategy, fear into courage. He gestured to the monoliths. We use their own energy against them. The ruins amplify us. They are not just obstacles, they are our allies. The princess marveled at the precision of his mind. Every calculation, every instinct, every decision turned the battlefield into an extension of human ingenuity. The first wave of ancient ships attacked, energy tearing through the forest with destructive force. Yet humans survived, using terrain, improvised devices, and the unpredictable flow of combat to their advantage. A ship fired a massive pulse, freezing the snow midair and bending light like a prism. The princess felt the surge in her body, threatening to overwhelm her senses. The man acted instantly. He directed energy through reflective shards, creating a cascading effect that neutralized a pulse and sent a portion back toward the attackers. Several ships faltered, their systems overloaded by the unexpected countermeasure. "Humans are extraordinary," she whispered, awe lacing her voice. "They adapt, improvise, and endure, even when faced with the impossible." He smiled faintly, eyes never leaving the horizon. "Adaptation is our weapon. Courage is our shield. Intelligence is our blade. That is how we survive and how we prevail." The battle escalated, each wave of attackers more relentless than the last. Ancient fleets, powerful beyond measure, collided with human improvisation and ingenuity. Every attack was met with a calculated counterattack. Every risk became an advantage. The princess realized that humanity's power lay not in strength, not in technology alone, but in the fusion of heart, mind, and unpredictability. The man led a strike against a massive command ship, navigating through enemy fire with impossible precision. He disabled the main energy core using an improvised conduit, amplified by the monolith resonance. The ship faltered, its energy dissipating in a controlled explosion. Other ships hesitated, recalculating. They had never faced a species capable of turning chaos into strategy, vulnerability into advantage, and fear into opportunity. The princess felt a swell of pride and awe. Humans were fragile, yes, but their ingenuity and courage transformed fragility into unmatched strength. The battlefield was littered with wreckage, yet humans remained standing. They had survived impossible odds, repelled ancient forces, and demonstrated that intelligence, courage, and unpredictability could rival even the oldest and most powerful adversaries. The man turned to her. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The universe will test us again. But every time humans adapt, every time we endure, and every time we rise stronger." She nodded, understanding the truth of his words. Humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, warriors, and masters of adaptation. In a universe filled with ancient powers and unstoppable forces, humans represented a force that could not be predicted, controlled, or destroyed. The snow fell gently over the battlefield, covering scars with delicate beauty. Fires smoldered, reflecting shadows that danced across the ruins. The universe had witnessed humanity's resilience, intelligence, and courage, and it would never underestimate them again. The princess reached for his hand. "I came here for a simple celebration," she whispered, "and I have witnessed the rise of legends." He smiled, eyes fierce with determination and pride. "We are human," he said, "and we endure. That is our power. That is why we are extraordinary." Far beyond, ancient empires stirred, sensing the anomaly of humanity. Yet even they paused, uncertain, for humans were unpredictable, brilliant, and brave in ways that no force could fully anticipate. The horizon glowed with new dawn, promising challenges, battles, and trials yet to come. Humans would face them all. They would adapt, endure, and prevail. The princess understood fully now. Humanity's uniqueness lay not in invincibility, but in the courage to act when others freeze, in the intelligence to turn disadvantage into weapon, and in the spirit that refuses to yield. And as she walked beside him, across the snow-laden ruins of victory, she realized the universe itself had been forever changed by the species that refused to be defeated. Humans would rise. Humans would endure. Humans would conquer the impossible again and again in ways no one, alien, ancient, or cosmic, could ever foresee. The stars above shimmered with distant fires, the remnants of destroyed fleets, and the silent promise of trials yet to come. The man and the princess stood together, prepared, unbroken, aware that humanity had earned its place among the cosmos, not by strength alone, but by courage, ingenuity, and the unyielding will to survive. The remnants of battle littered the landscape. Fallen monoliths, shattered shards of alien technology, scorched trees, but amidst the ruin, life endured. The man and the princess moved cautiously, their breaths forming clouds in the cold morning air. The snow crunched beneath their feet, each step echoing determination and resilience. Around them, the forest hummed faintly. The energy of the monoliths pulsed softly, reacting to the presence of humans and the alien princess alike. It was a resonance of survival, of courage, of intelligence forged under the harshest pressures. The princess glanced at him. This is incredible. I came to your world for something simple, something festive, and instead I found legends. He shrugged, though a small, almost imperceptible smile played on his lips. We are not legends, he said. We are humans, and humans endure. That is our legacy. Snowflakes swirled around them like delicate sparks of light, catching the rising sun. The battlefield that had been a crucible of chaos now shimmered with fragile beauty. Beyond the ruins, distant mountains still smoldered from the wreckage of the colossal ships, their jagged forms dark against the golden sky. The horizon glowed with the promise of tomorrow, of new challenges, of victories yet to come. The princess studied him closely. He had faced forces older than planets, creatures that had devoured civilizations whole, machines capable of unraveling reality itself. Yet here he stood, unbroken, composed, and infinitely human. You fought against the impossible, she said softly, and yet you remain. You are extraordinary. He looked at her, eyes steady, fierce with determination and pride. Not extraordinary because of strength, he said, but because we think, we adapt, and we refuse to yield. That is what makes humans unstoppable. She nodded, her mind reflecting on the enormity of what she had witnessed. Humans had turned chaos into strategy, fear into opportunity, and vulnerability into power. In the vast, indifferent universe, they had proven themselves a force to be reckoned with, not because they were invincible, but because they were ingenious, courageous, and unrelenting. For a moment, silence enveloped them. The soft whisper of snow, the distant creak of ancient trees, and the faint resonance of monolith energy formed a strange symphony of survival. Then, in the distance, a faint hum vibrated through ground. The remnants of the shadow, now contained but not destroyed, pulsed faintly, a reminder that the universe's tests were never truly over. The man knelt beside it, studying the energy patterns, his human mind racing through possibilities. It is contained, he said, but it will learn. It will wait. And when it moves again, humans will be ready. The princess realized something profound in that moment. Humans were fragile in body, yes, but in mind, spirit, and heart, they were unmatched. Their courage did not lie in weapons or technology alone. It lay in their ability to endure, to adapt, and to transform even the most hopeless situation into a chance for survival and triumph. She reached for his hand, a gesture of trust, of connection, and of awe. I came to Earth for a simple celebration, she said, and I leave having witnessed something far greater. I have seen a species rise above the impossible. I have seen humanity. He squeezed her hand gently, looking out across the snow-covered battlefield. We endure because we must. We fight because we will. And we rise because we can. Together. They walked through the ruins, moving past shattered monoliths and scorched trees, leaving footprints in the snow that will be washed away by the next storm. But the legacy of their actions, the demonstration of human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability, would echo across the stars. The princess paused, taking in the scene. She had traveled across galaxies, witnessed empires and technologies that spanned millennia, and yet she had never seen resilience like this. Humans were small, yes, vulnerable, yet in their unpredictability, in their refusal to submit, lay a power that even the oldest forces could not fully comprehend. A distant cry echoed to the mountains, the remnant of alien scouts, fleeing, regrouping, perhaps learning but ultimately failing. Humans had proven themselves. They had survived where countless others had perished. The man looked at her, his breath misting in the cold air. The universe will test us again, he said. It always does. But humans endure. We adapt, we rise, and we survive. The princess smiled, feeling warmth that had nothing to do with the firelight behind them. Then the universe has much to learn, she said, and much to fear. Above them, the sky lightened further, the soft gold of sunrise spilling across the mountains, illuminating snow, trees, and ruins alike. The battlefield seemed almost serene, yet beneath that beauty lay the proof of unimaginable trials endured and overcome. They approached the remnants of the colossal ship, still smoldering, energy crackling faintly from the wreckage. Even here, humans had found advantage. using debris, terrain, and clever tactics to turn impossible into victory. The princess knelt beside one piece of the wreckage, her fingers brushing alien metal that pulsed faintly. Even technology older than your planet, older than your species. It could not anticipate humans, she whispered. The man nodded. We do not fight like others. We improvise. We adapt. We survive because we think, and because we refuse to surrender. That is our edge. The forest around them seemed to hold its breath. Snow drifted lazily, reflecting the pale light. The monoliths pulsed faintly, as if acknowledging the demonstration of skill, courage, and ingenuity that unfolded. The princess felt a deep reverence. The humans had faced not only ancient forces but impossible machines, creatures older than galaxies, and a universe that often seemed indifferent. Yet they had endured, and more than endured, they had triumphed. They will return, she said, stronger, smarter, and they will think to challenge you again. He looked up at the horizon, eyes sharp, unwavering. Let them. Humans are ready. Every challenge is a test, every threat an opportunity, and every impossible situation a chance to prove ourselves. We adapt, we endure, and we rise. That is what makes us human. A distant ripple of energy pulsed across the forest. The last echoes of the shadow contained the final tremors of alien machines. Humanity had endured once more. The universe had witnessed it. The princess felt something she had never felt among the Celestials. Hope, fierce and unshakable. Humans were not merely survivors. They were innovators, warriors, thinkers, creators. They were alive in a way that made the universe itself pause and take notice. She turned to him, eyes wide with awe. You are everything I imagine and more, not because of power, but because of your mind, your courage, and your heart. He smiled, faint, tired, but unbroken. That is what makes us human. That is our legacy, and that legacy will endure no matter what the universe throws at us next. Together, they walked through the forest, past ruins and wreckage, footprints marking a path of survival and triumph. Snow fell gently over the battlefield, covering scars with fragile beauty, reflecting light off shattered monoliths and scorched ground. The princess realized that humanity's uniqueness lay not in invincibility, not in overwhelming power, but in creativity, courage, intelligence, and spirit, the very traits that allowed them to face the impossible and rise above it. They paused on a hill overlooking the ruins, the first true sunlight of morning spilling across the snow. In that moment, the princess understood fully. Humans had earned their place in the cosmos, not by brute strength, but by being extraordinary in ways the universe had never expected. The man looked at the rising sun, eyes bright with determination. The universe will test us again. It always does. But every time humans endure, every time we adapt, every time we rise stronger than before. The princess reached for his hand, and together they stood, watching the snow drift over the battlefield like a blanket of stars falling to earth. The universe had witnessed humanity's triumph, and it would never underestimate them again. Humans had survived impossible odds, outwitted ancient powers, and demonstrated courage and intelligence beyond measure. Their legacy was not written in conquest, but in the brilliance of mind, the strength of heart, and the unyielding will to endure. And in that quiet, snow-filled morning, as the first light touched the forests and mountains, humanity's place in the stars was secure. Not by domination, not by force alone, but by the essence of what made them human: courage, intelligence, creativity, and unbreakable spirit. The princess squeezed his hand gently. The universe is vast, dangerous, and full of unimaginable challenges. And yet, you humans will endure. You will rise. You will always survive. He smiled faintly, looking out across the snow and ruins, toward a horizon of endless possibility. We always do, he said. We always will. Snow continued to fall. The forest whispered with wind, and the distant echoes of the defeated enemies faded into silence. The night had passed, the battle had ended, and a new chapter for humanity in the universe had begun. The princess realized she had witnessed something far greater than she had imagined, a species that could defy the impossible, adapt to the unimaginable, and endure against any force, no matter how ancient or powerful. Humanity had proven itself. The universe had taken notice, and the stars would never forget. They stood together, human and alien, on the hill overlooking the battlefield, as the sun rose fully, casting a golden light over snow, ruins, and victory. And somewhere beyond the edges of the galaxy, ancient powers stirred, watching the anomaly that was humanity, uncertain, hesitant, and for the first time respectful. The man turned to Princess. This is only the beginning. The universe will try again, but humans will always rise, always endure, always adapt. She nodded, eyes bright with admiration and understanding. Then the universe has much to learn and much to fear. The forest was quiet, the snow falling, the monoliths pulsing softly. The battlefield had become a testament to survival, courage, and ingenuity.